special power. Everyone has something they're passionate about. Everyone is a subject matter expert. Here at Nerdmasters, we help you share your expertise. In our digital world, we Toastmasters must master basic communication technologies in conjunction with speaking and leadership skills. We formed the Nerdmasters Advanced Club to expand our understanding of technology so we can better serve our clubs and our communities. We are nerdy Toastmasters, enthusiastically exploring the intersection of technology, leadership, communication, and nerdly pop culture. Welcome to the Nerdcasters podcast.
Game begin.
Welcome to this episode of Nerdcasters, the District 32 Nerdmasters podcast. We are exploring leadership opportunities with our current district leaders. Tonight, I am the host, Carolyn Curley, Distinguished Toastmaster and past District Director. Serving as co-host, I have Joyce Vick, Distinguished Toastmaster and previous leader with the Yukon-Alaska Council of Toastmasters. Our guest tonight is our District Director, Roberta Craig. When you ask any leader why they chose to step up, the answer almost is they were inspired by a vision for change. As such, the words by Mahatma Gandhi, "Be the change you wish to see in the world," has been at the heart of everyday life for Roberta Craig. Yet it was an essay by Christina Starr on the 7 keys to living with intention, meaning, and purpose that shaped her philosophy of leading with purposeful intent. If the job of today's leaders is to create more leaders, we must have inspiring and mentoring tomorrow leaders as the heart of our role. Please welcome Roberta Craig, the 2022-2023 District Director, as she continues her Toastmasters journey to inspire us to be the leaders we wish to see in the world. Welcome, Roberta. Thank you for joining us with this discussion. Our first interview question will be asked by Joyce. Joyce, go ahead, please.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Carolyn, and especially you, Roberta, for joining us tonight. I know that you've been in Toastmasters for quite a while, but I want to know, we all want to know, why did you first join Toastmasters?
Like many of our current Toastmasters out there, the reason why I joined was because my boss made me join. I had been asked to join a Toastmasters club for many years prior to that, but the idea of public speaking and getting up in front of folks and talking, just communication, terrified me. It took literally being shoved into a Toastmaster journey by my employer. She made it one of my personal growth objectives to join Toastmasters. And I went home and cried. I cried thinking, I'd been working for this organization for 27 years, and I'm going to have to get a new job. I can't do this. But it took having people talk me down from the edge and saying, yes, you can do this. Just go to that first meeting. And I went to that meeting and I sat in the audience and thought, wow, I want to be like these people. I want to have the confidence to be able to stand in front of a group of folks and talk about riding the subways of New York or leaning into change. I wanted to be like the people that were in that meeting. And that's why I joined Toastmasters.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It always helps when your boss twists your arm, but it doesn't look like you're crying anymore, Roberta. So obviously that arm twisting did some good. Carolyn, do you have a question for Roberta?
I do. Roberta, what have you learned from your experience in Toastmasters?
What have I learned from Toastmasters is that I am stronger than what I had ever imagined. That I was more capable than I ever imagined. That I was the person that my mentor, my employer, believed I was. To have someone, oftentimes it takes having someone believe in you before you believe in yourself. And Toastmasters helped me learn to believe in myself. What I've learned from my Toastmasters leadership journey has been patience. I am one of those, you give me a goal, I want to just hurry up and get it done. You give me a job, I want to hurry up and get it done and move on to the next one. But with leadership, you learn that not everybody is at the same point in their Toastmasters journey as you are. And it takes patience to help them get to that point in their journey, to mentor them, to give them guidance, and sometimes helping them believe in them first before they have belief in themselves.
Thank you so much. That's very powerful. That belief that someone has in you first, where you want to rise up because you look up to that person. Thank you for sharing that with us. Joyce, your turn.
Well, Roberta, you have learned a lot from your experience. I remember going to a training where you were the leader, and I looked up at you and I thought, I don't have any paper. And you came to the rescue and brought me a notebook and said, here, write it down. Well, that was an achievement for me to show up to that class. But what would you consider your greatest achievements in Toastmasters?
My greatest achievement in Toastmasters would have to be in conducting a workshop at our 2019 conference. When they were looking for people to be presenters, I had this idea in mind that I wanted to share, this message that I wanted to share with my fellow Toastmasters and hopefully develop as a message that I can share throughout the world. But I will admit, I was a little not confident that I could do it. About a month before the presentation, I had already signed up for it. I had draft after draft after draft of what I was going to present and how I was going to present it. But I still had that little bit of lack of confidence of why would anybody want to listen to me in this message? What value do I have in giving this message? What right do I have in giving this message? And it was Kyle Hall had come to do a pre-workshop before the conference. And he talked about how sharing our experience is where we give back to each other. Having some great philosophers stand up in front and tell you these 7 points of leadership doesn't mean anything unless you can connect with that personal message. And I realized that I had a message that I hoped others could connect to and be inspired by. And that workshop was titled Leading with FTP, Forgive, Trust, and Proceed.
Well, thank you very much for that. And I know that you, like Kyle, have been a real asset to District 32. I appreciate all the time that you have put into that along with Kyle, but I appreciate you especially because you led so many workshops and trainings. Carolyn, do you have a question for Roberta?
That I do. Roberta, thank you for sharing about that workshop. I remember that workshop. As district director, what is your vision for this role?
I had an interesting conversation about a month ago with Rick Snyder, who is our parliamentarian for the district. I had sent off our district overview calendar, and he replied back to me, "So, your district director year is done. What are you going to do for the rest of the year?" I was shocked. I was thinking, what do you mean my district director job is done? His reply was, well, you have everything laid out of when things are going to happen. It's just filling in the blanks. So what are you going to do for the rest of the year? That brought me back to what my vision for my role as district director is. That vision is to inspire the next generation, the next leaders of District 32. There are leaders out there, I know there are, that are waiting for someone to tap them on the shoulder, maybe shove them a little gently, maybe a little bit harder than they need, because we all believe in them and they just need to have someone to show them, yes, I believe in you because. It is sharing that belief in others, inspiring them to lead into that uncomfortable zone of stepping up into leadership and showing them that that lack of comfort, that nauseousness, that, oh gosh, I don't know if I can, is really masking all their potential and all that they have to give to the district. So I feel it is my vision, my responsibility as your district director to inspire you to believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. I do have to admit that when I served as a club coach, I had one member that came to me. I didn't believe in my club. I didn't believe in my club, but you did. Now I believe in my club. You are sharing your vision as a guiding light and inspiration to encourage not only current leaders, but to inspire future leaders. Thank you so much for stepping up and to show us that we can. And if not, someone might push us because they know we can. Joyce, your turn.
All right. Well, thank you, Carolyn. And thank you, Roberta. The last couple of years have been tough with COVID. We've had to meet online, which works out great for me because then I can join lots of clubs. But there's nothing like going to a convention in person. And this year, lucky you got to go to Nashville. How lucky is that? Tell me, what did you love the most about the convention, the Toastmaster International Convention in Nashville?
I've had fun explaining what I love the most about the convention. It's what I call hallway time. Do you remember in middle school and high school, the most enriching experience that you had during that time of your life was in hallway? It was the time that you weren't in class. It was lunchtime. It was the time that you got to connect with your peers. That was the thing that I loved the most about Nashville. Yes, for the past 2 years as a district leader, I have been in district leadership training online. It's hard to have that time where you just share ideas, that you feel that you're able to make that connection because you're in this Zoom box and the time is controlled. There's not that hallway time. There's not a breakout room hallway time. It doesn't relate. Being able to meet with our fellow district leaders, share our experiences, share our fears, and more importantly, just share our joys of being together, of reconnecting with one another, helped us all. It helped me especially to reconnect with my journey in Toastmasters.
Well, thank you very much for that. I'm sure that you would highly recommend going to a conference in person if we had the chance. But it was great to watch it online too, if you can't fly. So I like those options.
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn, you have a
Thank you
question
so
for
much,
Roberta?
Joyce. And Roberta, you know, that passing time, that hallway time, times when you can just make those connections. I am looking forward to the District 32 conference in May. I know we are still looking for co-chairs, but on a smaller scale than the Toastmasters International Convention, that helps us make connections within District 32. From that training you attended as a trio member, what do you want to bring back to our members?
I saw that there's basically 2 days of intense training as a district leader. The first day of training, I would best sum up as learning about ourselves, learning about our leadership styles, our leadership communications. So we started from the I, from the me. And then the second day of training really involved strategic planning. So we moved from the individual, the self-exploration, to really looking at the team itself and the future. That strategic planning, that second day, was probably the most mind-blowing training I ever had. To be able to sit and share our strategic plan with other districts and to get their feedback, to be inspired by new ideas of how we can shape some of our strategic plan to best help all of our clubs achieve excellence. Those are the things that I hope to bring back, or I hope to share it this year with all of our members.
Thank you so much. It sounds like an amazing experience, not only receiving feedback for current plans, but finding inspiration for future and making those connections worldwide. Joyce, your turn for the next question.
All right. Thank you, Carolyn and Roberta. You mentioned about having a calendar that was all planned out for the year. And I can admit, you actually have that calendar all laid out as to what happens when and what happens where. But my question for you is, did you have a little box for clubs? And did you have a little box for your professional life and your personal life? How do you fit it up to one calendar in 1 year?
You know, the biggest joke that we often have in Toastmasters is when somebody asks you what you do outside of Toastmasters, and your reply is, "There's a life outside of Toastmasters?" Really? I'm still looking for that. I think the most important thing we have to remember with all these objectives, in not only do we need to be patient with others, we need to be patient to ourselves. We need when I look at the 7 keys of living with intention, meaning, and purpose, one of those keys is cultivating mindfulness. It's about being aware of yourself in your surroundings and all the people in those surroundings. We truly don't balance clubs, professional and personal life. It doesn't really exist. What we need to instead is interweave all of these. If all of these are part of the journey that we are on, that balance happens naturally. That balance is you balancing your journey that you are taking and having mindfulness of all that is around you. Being mindful that there are going to be times when your family doesn't hear from you or see from you because you're up from the time you get home from work till midnight working on plans for another meeting or another speech that you're having to give. But you still have to be mindful of their needs in your life. By cultivating that mindfulness, we don't need to do any sacrificing. It's all part of the journey.
Well, I like the way, Roberta, you weaved your personal life in with your Toastmaster life. And I'm thinking it sounds like a piece of cake. But I know it's more than that because I can only imagine what your calendar looks like. I don't think there probably is a day that's open that you don't have something scheduled. But that's okay because you're everybody's hero this year. So thank you for stepping forward for the position that you're in. Carolyn.
Thank you so much, Joyce. Roberta, thank you for your words to inspire others. As district director, what would you say to our members to encourage them to take on a leadership role in District 32?
What I would say is think of your Toastmaster journey. Where you want to be one year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. I don't mean it to sound like setting goals, but just have a vision of what you want to have, do, and be at some point in the future. And then imagine how taking on a leadership role is part of that journey. There are things you're going to learn as a leader in district, either from your club, as an area director, division director, or other leadership positions. And all of those experiences will enrich that journey that you are on, both personally and professionally. It teaches leadership in the district, teaches you how to be patient, how to be present, how to adjust your expectations and realize that the journey that you are on is not about just yourself. It is about the other people who are on that journey with you. And as we look at that, as we look at all the people that are on that journey, it is our responsibility as not just leaders, but as members who are on this wild ride, this marble planet that we live on, that it is our responsibility to help build the leaders who will inspire change in the future. The people who need a little help learning to lean in. And that's what Toastmasters leadership helps you build the confidence in doing. Not just leaning in yourself, but helping others lean in to the change we wish to see. And by connecting with that journey, committing to that journey, we will all rise, not just as Toastmasters, but as fellow humans on this planet.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words. I would like to thank our audience tonight. I would like to thank our District Director, Roberta Craig, for her time. And to our co-host tonight, Joyce Vick. With the Nerdcasters, the Nerdmasters putting together this podcast, all in support of District 32, we encourage our members to step up to leadership. Let yourself be confident if someone believes in you to take that next step. Check out District 32 website, d32toastmasters.org. Check out Nerdmasters, and definitely look at what you can gain from participating in Toastmasters International. Thank you all, and have a great night.
Whether you identify as a gamer, technology nut, or just have a commitment to studying how technology is changing and improving both leadership and communication, our Nerd Herd has a place for you. Find out more about us at our website, nerdmasters.org. Join us the first Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock Pacific, and get to know us before our meeting starts promptly at 7:30. You will visit our club and enjoy it.
Resistance is futile.
Game over.